Hi folks and welcome to today's video, deadlifting again after a herniated disc. Now I do produce a lot of great content for those folks suffering out there with herniated discs, bulging discs, sciatica, stenosis, general lower back pain. If that is you, then hit that subscribe button. You'll be notified when I upload some great content for you guys to get you back on the road to recovery. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. So, the mighty deadlift, folks. Thank you for coming onto this video. Now, let me just put this down and let's talk a bit about returning to the deadlift exercise. Now, a lot of you come to this video, perhaps you've had a herniated disc, bulging disc. You want to know how long it's going to take till you can get back and safely deadlift again. Okay, the deadlift motion itself, it's a very, if you want to say, functional movement. For us to perform activities daily, lifting our groceries off the floor, lifting things off the floor, kids' toys, rubbish, etc., moving obstacles, we're using our legs, back, hips, etc. It is a functional movement. It's one that we typically do every single day. And the deadlift itself, the actual movement exercise, is not just for those who want to go on to do the deadlift movement, of course, but it does apply to everybody who's coming back from a rehabilitation program. Now, I want to start, this is going to be a two-part video. There's a lot of things to cover here. What I want to cover in this part is the beginnings of what's called the hip motion or hip hinging motion that you start the deadlift with. A few pointers about your spinal alignment and how long it's going to take and how you should progress through those different areas, okay? So, number one is the actual movement itself. Hip hinging, I'll just show you from the side here. So we typically talk about hinging our hips, where the hips go back like so. It's like a door hinge, right? And the spine, you want to keep it in a neutral, flat position. So you don't want to be excessively arched, you don't want to be obviously rounded. You want to find that nice neutral position and push the hips back. This basically puts a lot of stress on our glutes, okay, on the hips, works as lower back muscles, and it is the beginning of the deadlift motion, okay? Now, as far as the time frame goes, hip hinging itself should be part of your rehabilitation program, okay? I would expect that to be in a rehabilitation program from the outset, essentially, even if it's just the kind of the first partial movement, which is just here, maybe to 45 degrees, and then back up again, okay? So I would expect you to be doing that. I've got a specific video on hip hinging itself. It'll pop up at the end of this one. It's much more in depth. Watch the end of this video and you go and check out the specific hip hinging video, okay? Now, how do I progress? How do I know time is I can move on? Sciatica pain is one of the main side effects of herniated disc, bulging disc. If when I do a certain motion, for example, if I'm trying to practice my hip hinging and it makes my sciatica pain worse, then you have to take a step down. Now the step down from this, the ultimate sort of basic level, if you wish, to start with hip hinging, is on the floor like this, okay? And I'm just on my knees. You want to use a pad for your knees if you're at home. And I'm just letting my knees go, letting my bottom go back. There's a little hinge here, and then I come back and squeeze back up to neutral. So I go back to about 45 degrees, and then come up, okay? That should not result in pain. If you are at the very early stages of lower back pain recovery, perhaps you've got a really bad herniated disc, perhaps the sciatica is really bad, you may have to wait a week or two before you start this movement, okay? So if we're going from bottom flat line baseline, I'd be practicing this movement, 3 sets, 8 to 10 repetitions. I would do that every day, and I would work that over a 3 or 4 week period, okay? Step number 2 would be the standing hip hinge, where I'm here like this. I'll show you from the front and side. Feet about hip width apart, toes facing forward, okay? From the side here, up nice and tall, neutral spine, and I just let my arms stay close to my body, my hips hinge backwards. Now the weight's on my heels, I can actually wiggle my toes here because the weight's on my heels. To begin with, maybe go to 45 degrees, come back up, think about standing tall, squeeze my glutes as I come up, and come down. Same thing, 3 sets, 8 to 10 repetitions. Take a minute or so between your repetitions or work it into your daily routine. I hope you are doing some sort of daily routine, stretches, core strengthening, etc. Okay? And eventually you'll get down to being a bit parallel here with the ground, squeeze and come up. Now this particular movement is more like what they call a Romanian deadlift, which is where the legs stay relatively straight. There's a small bend at the knees here, and it works a lot more of the erector spinae muscles in the back. But again, we're not loading, we're just using our body weight as load. And again, I would do that, work up 3-4 weeks, okay? So that's like the first 2 months, that's all we're really looking at. Now you're probably saying, Colin, how long does it take? I want to be able to deadlift again, you know, what's the time frame? Okay, and the many clients I've worked with over the years, I would say realistically, deadlifting again with your own body weight, if you followed the correct protocol, correct rehabilitation protocol, you've progressed, your pain subsiding, you're probably looking at 6 to 8 months before you can deadlift effectively with your own body weight, okay? That might seem a little conservative for some people, but you have to understand the disc itself, it can take 12 months, 18 months, sometimes longer for the disc to completely scar over and heal. So I would rather err on the side of caution, okay? And you know, progress things very steadily, very steadily, very steadily. So 4-week increments, and you're basically increasing the load, the tolerance. So we're going to change in a second. So I'm giving you this one, for example. What's the next progression from that? Okay, I'm going to show you in just a second, but I just want to come back on this time frame. Everybody's a little bit different, okay? And some of us heal faster, some of us take longer to heal. Depends a lot on your injury. So you have to very often, you know, you want to use pain as a guide, of course, as well, to ensure that your sciatica pain is not getting worse if you do experience sciatica. You want to be in contact with your doctor as well, your physician, to make sure, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. You know, how you know, test my body. How does it feel to you? Do you think I'm doing the correct things? Is my body ready for it? Resilience. And those increments, you wanted like just very, very small step progressions. So we're increasing the load that the body, the muscles can take. They're getting stronger, able to stabilize the spine better as your disc is healing. As I said, it can be 12 months, 18 months. Yes, some people can be shorter sometimes to heal, but it can take a while for that heal scars over completely. So if you go back too soon, you don't have the stability, rigidity in your spine to help support your spine. And as you're lifting the deadlift, you get, oh, okay, you get a pop of flexion. You can re-herniate that same area. And I know people that it's happened to, friends of mine over the years. So it is really important that you progress in a nice, safe manner. As I said, you should be doing some of these movements in your own rehabilitation program or those given to you by your physiotherapist, okay? Now, if I want to progress on from this two-legged kind of bodyweight Romanian deadlift, okay, then I can progress onto what's called the golfer's lift. Now, the golfer's lift, again, this is quite often taught to people when they're rehabilitating their spines. I'll show you from the front and the side. I've got a wall here for some balance, and I'm going to balance on my right leg, okay, here, chest up, and I go forward. And again, you could go 45 degrees to start with, and come back up. And as you progress, we're going to go to parallel. And you see I'm not rounded over, not excessively arched, okay, neutral, flat spine, and come up. So it's a nice, torque yourself 1, 2, 3 down, stretch the hamstrings as well, and come back up. Now, I use the wall for support, but eventually you want to use it freestanding. So I've got my hands outside here. I'm probably actually going to, I'll show you just at an angle, otherwise I'll be kicking the wall. I'll use my left this time. So I'm here, I'm looking straight, pick a point. I find that helps me. Pick a point in front. I go down, stabilize, stand up tall. You can, in the beginning, touch the foot for support. The next progression, of course, is to do it without actually using that foot for any support. You're down, you come back up, take a pause, do the next repetition. And again, you'd work 8 to 10 repetitions, 3 sets, every day, every second day, build up over time. So your first month, depending on your pain level, you might just be doing on the floor. Just here, this very basic, okay, hip hinging move. That might last for 3-4 weeks. Your next 3-4 weeks, you might be moving into the bodyweight Romanian deadlift. the next 3-4 weeks, you might be moving into the golfer's lift, okay? Now, how can I also make that harder? Okay, well, we want to really get those glutes working, because quite often, if you are looking to progress to doing the deadlift as an exercise, you're an avid gym user, you're a powerlifter, bodybuilder, etc., you want to get those glutes working, okay? A lot of people, they tend to be, when they do, they start with a very high hip motion, and it's all back, okay? You can get the hips lower and get those glutes helping you drive the hips forward, take some of the stress off the back. So I'm going to show you another little exercise. It's also a progression to engage those glutes. I'm going to do it in a different location. See you in a second. Okay, folks, so I want to show you another way, or assisted way, to help engage those glutes and get those glutes firing. Okay, it's the biggest muscle in the body. It is going to help with that hip drive when you're lifting objects off the floor with your deadlift progression. Now, what I've got here, I've got a looped band here. You can pick these up, Walmart, Amazon, like, you know, $4, $5, $6 each, pretty cheap. You can get different thicknesses. This one here is about the width of my thumb. Okay, it's about just over 1 inch thick. And I've wrapped it around this pole here, but this could be, again, a door handle. Something, you want to use something quite solid, okay? So I'll loop it around here. You're going to step inside the band itself, okay? Just watch yourself, hold on to something when you do this, or hold on to a friend or a partner. And I'll show you from the side and the front. You want to put it just at that hip level here. And we're in the same starting position, okay? And I want to take some tension. I can feel like I'm trying to get pulled back, and I resist it. And then I'm just going to go down into this Romanian deadlift position. And then as I come forward, I'm resisting, of course, the band. I need to squeeze my glutes and squeeze the band forward, okay? Don't hyperextend, yeah? I want to finish in neutral position, so let myself slide down. The band, of course, helps pull me back. And then as I come forward, squeeze, engage the glutes. Okay, stretch down, squeeze, engage glutes. I want to make it a little bit harder. I can take a little step forward. And again, let myself come down, nice neutral spine. Come up, squeeze the glutes. And again, you'd work on 3 to 10 repetitions. Sorry, 3 sets, 8 to 10 repetitions. Okay, nice gradual progression to get you back to deadlift. You don't want to jump back into deadlifting too soon. I made that same mistake with squatting, actually, and I made my disc injury actually worse many, many moons ago. And that's when I sort of thought, right, I need to sort this out and get myself, you know, correctly balanced before I progress and move forward with different exercises. So this is part 1, okay? I just want to take you through those different progressions for the hip hinging, which is going to help you basically deadlift. And as I said, you don't need to be a deadlifter. If this is you at home, you know, if you've got a manual job perhaps, you have to move heavy objects, this applies to you, okay? Next week, I'm going to be going over further progressions by using dumbbell, kettlebell, some heavy object, medicine ball that you may have at home, which will help increase the strength even further. It's going to help engage your glutes, hips, etc. And it's going to take you to that next level where you will be able to start using the barbell if you are seeking to be going back to the deadlift, all right? Listen, folks, if you are out there struggling with your back pain issues, hit me up with some questions in the comment section. You don't want to make it too public. You can ping it over to my email. It's also in the description down below. Please like, share this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.